Man-Darius Sampson. Wow. First of all, I want to say thank you for agreeing to come on. I really appreciate it. I have not seen or talked to you in over 30 years.
That's a true statement.
Very true statement. So I kind of want to talk about several things. Let's start off with your mom's birthday was yesterday.
Yeah, let's do that.
Happy birthday. She would have been how old?
This would have been 83. She was kind of young. Yeah, she was kind of young when she passed away. But, man, I thought about it yesterday and always give a shout out to her. And her favorite color was purple. So I was going to wear purple today, but I didn't.
My favorite color is purple.
Okay.
Let me tell you something about your mom. You may or may not know. Your mother was the first person that I worked with or for on my first job at BC Moore.
Oh.
And I worked with her in the shoe department, and it was around Christmas time. And so she was just kind of giving me the ropes of that department. And her and Miss Ophelia were the ones that took me under their wings and showed me how to do Christmas bowls. To this day, I know how to do Christmas bowl.
Really?
Because of your mom and Miss Sophia. Yeah, they were just such a delight to work with and for and be around, and so kind. It never made me feel as if I didn't know what I was doing or anything like that. And so me being, I don't know, maybe I was 16, 17, maybe. Okay. They just both left such a great impression upon me, and I've just loved your mom from then on. So happy birthday to her.
Hey, that's breaking news. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, such a sweet soul. Okay, I'm going to give you the floor in a few minutes, but let me just give you your intro.
Okay.
So in high school, you were what I would call super popular, but also very private. There was always something different about you. And I know you and I kind of talked briefly, and we're going to get into all of the things that you kind of had to deal with that no one saw on the outside.
Right, okay.
But you portrayed yourself as such a gentleman. Not that you didn't do dirt. I'm sure you did. You was like, you know.
You think that for real?
I just leave that there. You know, I'm sure you did some dirt, but you just carried yourself very gentlemanly like. So, and I want to kind of get into you coming up in a single parent home. And you know, the weird thing about it is that growing up, we didn't look at who was in a single parent home, who wasn't in. It just wasn't a thing. It was just, I'm just going to hang out with my friend. I'm just going over here. Or we didn't analyze it the way people analyze it so much today. You grew up in a single parent home, but you turned out good. And you was not that kid that was like always in trouble, always doing stuff. Again, not that you didn't, but you just kind of carried yourself in a very respectable manner. Someone that, you know, me as a mother and having a son now, that I'll be proud of. So let's talk about how you was able to deal with those hurdles of not having a father necessarily in the house, figuring out how to become a man, and how you maneuver through life, finding your footing and just kind of finding your way. And then now where you are today. The floor is yours.
That's a lot to unpack, but thanks for the compliment. Hey, I got to say this. I was so excited when you asked me to do this podcast because I know I haven't seen you in 34 years, a long time, since high school, since you graduated. I don't even know where you graduated, but I just knew I knew you. And when I saw you, I wanted to reach out to you on LinkedIn because I saw you and it sounded like you were professional. And when I sent you the thing, you're like, did the email get hacked? I was cracking up. Well, so...
Wait. Hold on. Wait, we got to stop. So I saw the name, right? There's not but one Darius Sampson that I know of, right?
Yes.
I knew it was Darius Sampson from Pelham. And you come in with this big blurb of professionalism. You were so professional. I'm like, hello? Darius? It's me.
Yeah. No, I wanted you to know because LinkedIn is a professional thing, right? They say that's what it is. I would have never signed up. Also, business and Navy time, a lot of people know people out here, and I say, you know what? I'm just going to reach out. If she knows somebody out here, she can talk about Kids At Black Student Union. I'm on the advisory board for the police chief. But before we get into that, I'm going to just back up to talk about Pelham.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me. I love Pelham, Georgia. That is my home. When I was in the Navy, you always had people say they were from whatever big city. Everybody knew I was from Pelham, Georgia. And they know it to this very day. All my friends will tell you, and they laugh about it. But the great thing about Pelham, which I find out on LinkedIn, is that everybody's successful. All of us have different families, but all of us have those natural, genuine traits that'll carry you a long way in life. Because I met a person one time in what they call PSD, Personnel Service Detachment. And the person said, "Hey, your accent, where are you from?" I say, "I'm from Pelham, Georgia." Of course, they started laughing because when you say Pelham, Georgia, that means they know somebody from there. So I won't say the person's name, but they say, yes, that person is really, really nice, really, really sweet, and you have a accent like that. And from what they could tell, I was the same way. My dad, for most people who don't know, his name was Albert Carswell. And he grew up in Georgia, moved to New York City. He was a very, very sweet man. He moved to New York, and my mom didn't want to move to New York because she always stayed down there with my grandmother. And her brother died at an early age, and so did her dad. So she was not moving away from Pelham, period. So that's how I end up in, single household, so they call. And you may recall, I used to go to New York every summer, right after Bible school was over. And I would come back with this fake accent because I was so happy to go to New York and come back different because nobody would ever see me. I would be gone for the summer, and so it was like I was a new kid coming back, and I could change my identity. I could have this New York accent that I don't have. I'm from the country. So that's the start off. So talking about success, being that I'm a chemical dependency counselor, that's what my degree's in. One of my degrees is in. According to that, the biopsychosocial model that they use, you're right, I should have failed. I shouldn't be a success. But when I talk to students at Kids At Black Student Union, nobody can define who you are. And sometime to get to that point, I didn't know who I was. All I know is that I grew up in that household. Those older ladies, everybody in the church invested in me. I got this picture I'm going to send you. I'm in the front. I think I'm 9 years old. I got these long tube socks on. I have on my glasses, which I don't wear those anymore. I got me some nice designer glasses now.
You uppity now.
Yeah, right? They got me some Tom Fords now. Anyway, so they invested in us. And the reason why I didn't get in trouble, and everybody knows that my grandmother, Miss Eunice, laid the law on us. Basically, in that little hometown, which you probably know, that I couldn't do any dirt because all the people on the block were going to go tell your mom, your grandmother, whatever. And that's the last thing that I wanted to was to embarrass them because you're going to pay that price. So I didn't go to the principal. I didn't get in trouble with the law. And this is the story that everybody knows about me in the military that they laugh about. I couldn't swim when I went in the military, right? But I'm going to get back to paddle. I couldn't swim. We on 4 or 5 days. We on 5 days. And if you don't pass a certain day, you get kicked back. You get sent back home. I said, I am not going back to Pelham, Georgia to face my grandmother because my senior year, I broke my ankle. And she said, I don't care what you do, you're getting up out of here. That's the best advice I could have had because she was saying I had to go see the world, I had to go experience for myself. And here's the thing where I had to look back because I don't even know where it started, how I became popular. But I think it was because I got along with others, which is a trait that I use today. That's part of the skills that get you where you're at. That I got to be a team person. I got to be a person that gets along with others and not have an agenda to use people for whatever they are, for their smartness, their money, whatever. So that's what I can relate back to. Hey, I got along with a lot of people because I was in a lot of different groups back then.
Let me stop you for a minute.
Okay.
You was popular because you was a part of the boys.
Yeah, we were the boys. We were the FBI force at first, at the female body inspectors with our burgundy. But then we came out, we were the choir. That's when we came out in the orange and green FAMU. I did not go to my prom. I was at FAMU. I didn't go to my prom. That was my group. Yeah, that was it. And shout out to my beatbox, Chili the Mo, Scott Smith. He's going to heaven, but we were going to open up a wing place, right? We never got around to doing that, of course. But the last thing Scott gave me before he passed away, he gave me a cigar, which is still in Makisha's house. I'm going to open up a cigar lounge, hopefully one day. And that's what I want to do. He was one of my road dogs. He was my beatbox. We made some raps, but that was the group when we were in high school. When we were in elementary school, the boys' school, right? My class was me, Bobby Jackson, Degry Jones, and Jimmy Merriweather in the 3rd and 4th grade. And then later on, we had Walter Boone. And then we got to high school, we had more people come in. So I do want to.
Y'all been friends since elementary school.
Yeah, since elementary school. And I relate that back to when we had to go to people's house. You had to go with your parents. If we going down to Miss Rudetha's house to get my mom's hair done, I'm going to play with Shedrick. And if you had to come to the church, we stayed right across from the church. So y'all coming up to Miss Eunice's house, y'all can go up there and play. We had to make people go home because they wouldn't leave because my grandma always could cook and we had everything in the little park. So it was so cool. But yeah, I remember that group. We all are friends today. Bobby, still my road dog. Deg, still down there. Freddie, Corey, all of we still homeboys to this very day.
That's cool. That's cool. The one thing you talk about the boys' school, we separated from each other. What in like 1st, 2nd grade, the boys and the girls were separated from each other. Boys went to the boys' school, girls went to the girls' school, and we stayed like that until high school.
Yes.
When you got into the military, did you ever tell anybody that? And they were like, "Wait, what?"
Everybody think it's crazy. I said, no, we went to all boys school. I told them I was at a high school in the 8th grade. They're like, no, you was in middle school. Like, no, our school was so small you had to go to the 8th grade. So we were in there with the seniors. We were 8th graders up at a high school. They thought it was crazy. I just sent you the picture of me in the front, little bitty skinny dude, right? I want you to look at it and don't laugh because I love that picture. I had to walk to school by myself. I had to walk to school and I was so afraid, huh?
I said, I'm going to post that picture right here.
Let everybody see it because I'm going to talk about that picture. Had I grown up in a big city, the New York City that I wanted to stay in, I would have got bullied. I would have got beat up because when I went up there, and a lot of people don't know this because I didn't play high school sports. I was pretty good at sports. And most people tell you that. Your brother tell you that because I always went to PE together. But I never played. So when I went to New York and played basketball with those guys, I used to beat those guys. And they used to get so mad, and they wanted to beat me up. Being that I was a little smaller dude, I would have got beat up at a bigger high school. When I was in 3rd grade, I couldn't speak my name. I said Sampson. I said it like, so I couldn't pronounce my last name, and they had to send me the speech. They found out I had a lazy eye. It's called amblyopia, and I had to wear a patch over my eye. And they used to laugh at me because I had to wear a patch over my left eye. So that is why I can't see today. So if you don't correct the condition by the time you're 10 years old, the dominant eye, in my case, it's the right eye, takes over. And just like this, I can see normal. But if I was to do like this, I only know you on the screen because I saw you earlier. I can't see, right?
Wow.
And my sister, she like, I didn't know you had all that stuff the matter with you. My favorite teacher, Miss Bessie Mitchell, used to tell my grandmother I didn't pay attention in class. I used to get in trouble for that. Well, come to find out at 37 years old, I had ADHD. And back then, there wasn't no such thing as ADHD. You better pay attention. So yeah. They found that out when I was 37 years old because I went to counseling school. And Colette, let me tell you something. When I found out I had ADHD, I was so happy. Because it explained why I withdrew from people. I didn't want nobody to know my flaws. And the first time they gave me the medication, my whole brain lit up like, dude, you're smart. It was like but it's a certain condition called the Edison gene. And it's a creative gene that some people have. Oh, we got to back up. Talk about the origin of where you grow up at, right? The way you're modeled, that all goes into you're born at a certain place, certain time, your name, a certain thing. You know how we are taught our steps are ordered? Well, that makes sense if you follow the steps. If you don't follow the steps, you can't. So when I looked up everything, My name, Darius Sampson. Darius is compassionate, he's humorous, he's generous, he's all these things, right? Last name Sampson is the bright sun. He's always smiling. So one of the things I found out in my older age, not in my young age, but as I got older, I realized I love the mental stimulation conversation with a woman. And so I started studying metaphysics, right? And the metaphysics talks about knowing, being, identity, time, and space. So all the things add together. When I grew up, I did certain things to make me popular, but I didn't know how to be a man then. And I feared being a man. I like women, but I was afraid of women. If you got too close to me, I would push back. That continued into my adulthood. And I would start drinking, and I drank heavily for a long period of time. And I discovered how to get rid of that isolation. And now you can come this close to me. You can get right there because I'm so confident in myself. It's like a ship pulling into harbor.
I want to say one thing.
Okay.
It's funny how you talk about how you was afraid of women and you had all of these things going on. You had a lot of people that had a crush on you in high school.
I was happy too.
You hid it so well. You did not come off as someone who would go home and struggle with all of these things.
Because I was always around women. So when I say afraid, you couldn't get close to me. But I could talk to women because like my sister was 2 years younger than me. I had an older sister, so I was always around women. Now that I find myself, I could be around women and not be awkward. You know how some guys, they change their demeanor when they're around women? I was shy and isolated, but I was never afraid of women except in a relationship that you can't get this close to me because I'm going to get nervous. That scares the hell out of me at that time. So, and like I said, continue to my adulthood. And when people would get close to me, I would just drink and sabotage the relationship. So if you see guys do that, they're hiding from themselves. So in my counseling, I talk to a lot of guys, and a lot of grown men cry. They're big, bad, and tough, and they cry right in your arms. They just bust down. It's common for people, men or women, to come in and say, I don't know you, I don't trust you, and I'm not telling you nothing. By the end, you break down over those months because now we're doing real work. I could be superficial, talk about all this stuff, but it's not healing me.
So when someone comes in your office and they're talking to you and you're trying to get someone who's so closed off to open up, how do you get there? Like, what's your approach? I know you have to make them feel comfortable, but how do you get to the healing point?
When I was doing it, I got to build rapport, like, man, what's going on? You know, just like a general conversation, how we're talking. Most of the time when they come see me, they're mandated. They ain't not worried about no credentials. They ain't worried about nothing. All they know is that I need to get out of here to get back to my life. They will tell me anything to get out of there, but I won't do work. You got to trust me. So we're going to be talking just like me and you talking now. Hey, man, what was it like for you growing up? Where did you grow up at? Man, I've been to that place there, man. It's tough, man. How do you get along with your buddies? Like, I didn't have friends. Oh, that must have been hard. You know, so we have a conversation. And then I would disclose stuff to them like, I didn't get a chance to see my dad that much because he lived in New York and it started to break down. I learned that there is no correct way to be a man. Everybody like, if you was a man this, you a man that. That bothered me. And now I realize most men don't know how to be men. We don't. When I first read the book, So You Call Yourself a Man, he talked about 5 different biblical features, but what he was saying that a man, I say man because I'm a man, has to unlock their own potential no matter what doubts they have. So a lot of times men mimic themselves after somebody they looked up to. So if I looked up to somebody, I want to pattern myself after them, but I'm not being myself. So now when it's time for me to be myself, I don't know how to be that person. I don't know how to do it. And now when I meet that special person, I can't meet them because I don't even know myself. I haven't learned myself yet. And that takes time to discover it. It's a lot of work. Speaking of that, I read a lot of books, right? And all the books say the same thing. You got to show gratitude. You got to be compassionate. You got to sacrifice. You got to show compromise. But that doesn't mean anything. It's work. I'm like, yeah, I compromise. What did I compromise? How does that look? Because for me, that could be different for the next person. Every day, I do a spiritual download, which means I believe in God. God is I am. I have 19 affirmations that are specifically for me, not 19 I got off the internet. It says, I am the good guy. I will be good today, or I will be good now. I am generous. I am kind. I am polite. It has to be catered to me. And it gets hard every day because when I'm going to work, everybody's rushing. Now all those affirmations I just said, they may not work. So I have to renew it every day, even at lunch, because what I learned from Tony Robbins and a few more people, that the more I repeat it, it changes your DNA. It becomes me. I'm that person. So every day I speak to everybody in the gym. The lady at the gym, she can't wait till I get there. The people at the gym, if I don't go for a week, where you been, dog? And that's how it all starts. So it's a continuation. It's what they say, a lifestyle, right?
How did you get to the point that you realize I really need to figure out this me that I don't know?
I'm here today by getting in the right position. So one of the things I wanted to do when I was in the Navy, I wanted to go back to Italy. Italy was my favorite spot I ever went to. So when I wanted to go back, they wouldn't let me go back. And they said, well, you got to do the special program if you want to go. And that program is called SARP, Substance Rehabilitation Program. Oh, yeah, I do that. And at the time, I'm an alcoholic myself, right? But I want to go back. Little did I know, those 10 weeks they would send me to San Diego, I had to go through treatment myself. And I was like, what? I got to go through treatment. So when you go to that class, start off with like 35 people. They tell you, hey, everybody's not going to graduate. You may even graduate. It's because you're going to have to do some work. You're like, what? This can't be that hard. We graduated with, I think, 10 or 11 people. You go from your childhood, your genealogy, and you can't hide because what they do from the morning time when you come up, you on video, so you can't fake it. You got to give up something that's important to you, just like a person that would be addicted. You got to get it up, and you go into the group, and you got to dig. You got to do the work, like Ilana Van Zant was saying. So I'm hiding it. They told me I had self-esteem problems. I said, are you crazy? I'm smiling. I'm different. They're like, yeah, that's your cover-up. You're smiling. You're this because you don't want nobody to say anything about you. Man, you right, dude. You nailing me, man. They was hitting me, right? For the third week, we got to go to all these programs and do all this stuff. They got me in remedial. I'm like, man, I'm going to be one of these numbers I ain't going to pass. So me and these guys, keep in mind, all of us graduated. Third week, it's a 10 weeks class. We got to go to this meeting. We got to go to 12 different meetings. I tell them, hey, man, I'm not going to this meeting, man. I'm not wasting my Saturday going to this meeting. I say Monday morning, when we go in there, I'm quitting. So here goes the popularity and that people cater to me when I don't even know this. They say, if you quit, we're quitting too. I say, what? They say, you're the only reason why we keep going, bro. I say, wow. And the older guy told me, he said, man, you got what it takes. And that's when I found out my stubbornness and my arrogance. He says, you want to do it your way. You don't want to listen to the counselor because you think you know everything. This guy's giving it to me. My buddy giving it to me on a Saturday morning at the bus stop, right? So I was like, man, this is crazy. They picking me apart. They figuring me out like it ain't nothing. So I started doing the work. I realized that I missed my dad. I was crying about that. I missed Scott. And they asked me, they said, how did you deal with this stuff? I said, I just turned it over to God. They said, oh, no. It ain't that easy, bro. You got to deal with your five senses. That's why I call it 5 gates. Eye gate, 2 eye gates, 2 ear gates, mouth gate. If you let somebody get into the wrong gate, it'll set you back forever. Because when we start listening to all these algorithms, like I was listening this morning, the person that was talking to me about the opportunities, if I had switched that around, that could have been the same person that could have been deceiving me. So in my mind, deceit and temptation sounds alike. You just got to know what you're listening to, because that's what a lot of people do. They can use the same thing. I'm giving you an opportunity. You need to take advantage of this opportunity. The door's going to close. You need to do this offer now. If I don't have the right intention for that person, it sounds good to them. It sounds great. So I had to do 10 weeks of work. And the guy started telling me, you got to take feedback. And feedback doesn't have to be real. It doesn't have to be true. It's feedback, and you have to explore it. So if you told me something right now, instead of me trying to respond to it, take it. It's feedback. And that was the first part of our thing, that we're going to get feedback. Don't explain why you do this. Like by my hand mannerisms, don't explain why you do your hands like that. It's feedback. And I was like, oh, it's still hard to this very day when I don't agree with people and they're giving me feedback. I'm like, well, it's feedback. Take it. It's learning. That's why I like talking to you today, because whatever you tell me today, I'm taking it back to these kids. You know that, right? I'm taking it back to the kids that I'm going to, these young high school boys, these young high school women, they're going to be getting the information you give me there, because I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but I'm going to be feeding off you too.
Actually, there is something that I do want to run by you, but I want to piggyback on what she was just saying. So your thing is, when someone gives you constructive criticism or feedback, you cannot explain why you do that. You're just supposed to accept it. That's what you're saying?
For learning purposes. Some people may just be giving me feedback just to run their mouth. So if they're telling me that, maybe somebody's told me that before and I ignored it. It's like, okay, man, I done heard that before. It must be something to that. Maybe it's not, but it's feedback. Somebody sees it that way in me, that, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Okay, well, I don't think you're seeing that. Well, I just dismissed what they just told me. That means I can't grow. So I take all these tests, right? So, and every time I take a test of discovering my strengths and weaknesses or emotional intelligence, always bounce to, hey, is this me or this not me? Because I can answer those questions in the kind of way I want to. That's why it's important to have close friends. I say, hey, man, somebody told me this. Do I do this? Yeah, man, you do this. So one thing I used to do was interrupt a lot. And I didn't know why I interrupt people, but it's part of ADHD. So a lot of stuff get diagnosed that I may overlook because I don't think it's important. Everything's important. Minor things are important. Little things are important. When you get hurt, it's important. Like if you get hurt by a female, you got to acknowledge it. I didn't care about her, man. That. Yeah, you did. You got to acknowledge to her. And if you need to get over it, get over it. But don't say it didn't bother you if it did. If it didn't, then you were playing games with the person. I have to acknowledge myself, because at the end of the day, I have to live with myself. When I'm by myself, what am I really thinking about? Because I can put on the front all day long. I can come to your podcast, say all this good stuff, and then tonight go cry, right? So I have to acknowledge, dude, you're coming to the world one way, talking all this good stuff, and at the end, that's not even who I am. That's why you have great speakers, and they end up hurting themselves because I'm putting on a facade for whatever.
Yeah.
So it takes more than a session. It has to be a journal. Right now, it still goes on to this very day because, like I say, I read all this good stuff. I got angry yesterday. So guess what? And at the end of the day, I went back, apologized, talked about it. Hey, this is what we need to do going forward. Boom.